Aloha, loyal Real Nerds listeners. Sorry about the delay on this, but we had a technical difficulty. And you're only going to be hearing one half of our show, the Harry Potter finale review. But to recap what we talked about Submarine, a movie that Brad saw and no one else did. We also talked about Power Rangers, and how James explained that they did explain how Rocky tried with the show, and with it's got to be, I don't know, I didn't ever watch Power Rangers. And we also talked about Evil Dead 4. So sorry about that, but please enjoy our awesome Harry Potter finale. And I almost forgot about how shitty Netflix is for upping their prices by 60%. So, yeah, to recap, Power Rangers, Evil Dead 4, Submarine, and fuck you, Netflix. Enjoy!
You
like sushi? You like Kung Pao chicken? Then come to China Spice. It is very good.
Oh, we're going to hell.
Hey, you guys hungry?
Yeah, I'm hungry. Where should we go to eat? Dude, that was gold. You cannot change that commercial.
There's not a good Chinese food place around here, is there?
Actually, there is. Well, not around Belmar, but if
well,
you
then we
don't feel like
can't go
going
there.
out of your way too far, head on up to Louisville, where you can go to Spice China and enjoy a delicious blend of Japanese and Chinese cuisine.
Are we talking about Louisville?
Louisville, yeah.
Yeah.
Between
okay.
Boulder and Denver.
Yeah.
Not going out to Kentucky. I call it Louisville, too, though.
Unless you want to go out there.
It is
Okay,
Louisville.
I like Louisville.
It is Louisville
Cool.
in Colorado. Louisville. Yes.
I'm gonna say
but China
Louisville
Spice
is
is
good,
so
right?
good in Louisville. You know what? Let's ask Mr. Lee if he likes it. Oh, my favorite part is the sushi. Haha, it's so good. Thanks, Mr. Lee.
Oh, that was the worst. I have friends in Louisville. I'll have to tell them to go check this place out.
Yeah. If they
So
go,
this commercial that I'm in has just succeeded.
exactly.
It has. But
our friend Adam already has new customers.
he does, and he is the talented sushi chef at China Spice. It's so good. I would have everything there.
And next week he'll call us and tell us not to talk about his restaurant anymore. We're gonna use that voice.
That was like my Michael Scott being
Yeah.
Chinese guy.
Mr. Ping.
Mr. Ping.
Ping. Oh,
Anyways, yeah, try China Spice. It is delicious.
Spice China.
Spice China? What the fuck? I don't care. Spice China. Hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our Chinese sushi restaurant commercial.
God damn it, Ryan.
What?
Never mind. You don't listen.
What?
oh, I don't even know why that was funny.
Don't call. You don't have to explain the commercial that we just aired. It's supposed to be what innocuous. Is that the word?
All right, fine.
Seamless.
Welcome back to Real Nerds. I am Ryan.
It doesn't matter. He's gonna leave all this in there anyway.
No, he won't. He takes it out all the time.
No, he doesn't.
Actually, last week's episode was the most I've edited any show ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I took half an hour out of that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, just
There's
the
a lot
fun-
of
just the
pauses
funny
because we were
bits.
just like,
Yeah,
and the movie was good.
Well, you're right. It's hard to talk about comedy.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't come.
that's what she said. And
Oh, yeah. Hey, this is the trailer for Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows 2.
Harry, be safe. Be strong.
Harry Potter. You have fought valiantly. Now, join me and confront your fate.
We've kept him alive so that he can die at the proper moment.
Bring him to me.
Let's find out where he is. If we find him, we can end this.
I say we jump now!
Hogwarts is threatened. Man the boundaries, protect us.
I have to go back, haven't I?
It's a suicide mission. The boy who lived, come to die.
Tell them how it happened that night. How you looked him in the eye and
man who trusted you and killed him. I never wanted any of you to die for me. You'll stay with me.
Always.
Until the end.
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it. Together.
Only I can live forever.
Dude, sweet. So, hey guys, you're not very big Harry Potter fans. You've just seen the movies. What did you guys think?
I think you should go first.
You think I should go first?
I think you should go first.
Why, you think you're going to crush my soul or something?
No.
I thought it was a good ending to Harry Potter. I mean, it's everything that was built up to be. I mean, obviously I've read the books. I already know how it was going to end.
Yeah.
I thought the movie visually was really incredible. And, I thought it's interesting. I watched the first movie this week and how much those children who are now young adults have grown as actors. And, I mean, now they're pretty good actors. And being able... I think it's pretty amazing that they've had basically... Well, all the actors are the same for 10 years on a series, which is really amazing. And, I mean, I was...
Star Trek level.
Yeah, I was reading interviews with the crew, and the crew is all the same. The people, the set designers, the costumes, and all the... I mean, the directors have changed.
Yeah.
But everything else has been consistent. They rented out, I don't know, it was a warehouse or something, and it's been literally the Harry Potter sets for just 10 years.
Yeah.
Nothing else has been there. And that's why all the movies have great continuity, because they all look the same, because it's all just in the same sets constantly.
That was one of the things that impressed me was before the movie, the girls had been talking, sort of making fun of the child actors as not having been as good, and I was actually surprised at how good I thought they were. Though what I realized is that they do look they come off a little rusty and amateurish, mostly because they're surrounded by like a cast of the greatest British actors alive. I mean, just little side characters are really amazing actors that are doing their, not their top game, but still good enough that I think they sort of outshine these kids that are doing a decent enough job.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have someone like Rickman,
right? That's the real kicker. And Ralph Fiennes,
and even Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid. You have actors that are just amazing actors in the kids. I mean, they're always going to be some sort of drop when you go from those actors to the kids. But I think the kids are actually pretty good actors, and I don't. I think it's an interesting thing that you... Stuart, go lay down. Get
Shecky.
His breath is probably...
I know, it's annoying. Get.
It sounds like I'm over here going... Brad, you're really into Harry Potter.
He is. He really loves Emma Watson. It's really kind of creepy.
And I feel like the kids don't have as much as their characters don't give them as much like subtlety to play with as the villains. There's a lot going on there, and like Ray Fiennes and Rickman especially, they get to deliver their lines in these sort of creepy, neat ways and behave in these ways.
Oh yeah, I think
they jump off the screen a whole lot more than the kids that are sort of they're actually, we'll get to this, they're kind of flat as far as what they actually do.
Yeah, I think Rickman too. He has such he created a character for Snape that I think is why he's so popular, because he has that delivery where it's kind of really monotone and it's really drawn out. When he says, if anybody knows where Potter is, and he just has that character. I think it's probably because he's been the character for 10 years. You can start developing those little nuances that. I mean, I watched the first one. He does the same thing in the first one, but it's kind of cool seeing them grow that way. And yeah, I thought the movie was really good. I mean, because you wanted the payoff to be spectacular, and I thought, they did a pretty good job of that last battle scene and what you're waiting for. And I mean, you guys can chime in anytime. You're looking at me like I'm a dipshit.
Oh, I thought you were going to, cue us up. Like, Brad, what did you think?
Oh, no,
Brad, what did you think?
As someone who doesn't follow the Harry Potter universe that closely, I thought definitely the consistency and the quality of the movies has stayed very solid. But as far as story, I was very confused and lost a lot of the time. And I also felt like the movie didn't need to be 2 parts, which I said about the last one, but like I thought this movie was going to be 3 hours long in itself, but it was only 2. And I think if you maybe just turn the first one into 1 hour and then this last one maybe an hour and a half, that would have sufficed. So because I felt like this second half, unless I'd watched the other one right before it calls back to a lot of things in the past movies that I've forgotten about because I don't follow it a lot. So
yeah, I read an interview with the director and the screenwriter, and they mentioned that, and they said, yeah, well, if you're going in and seeing the 8th movie, if you don't know what happened before, then we can't help you. And they're right, because they're not going to. You do really want another 30 minutes of exposition of why they're doing this stuff, and because usually fans are the only ones. I don't know anybody that hasn't seen a Harry Potter movie and says, you know what, it's the last one, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to see what this is all about.
So on that note, I went into this movie not having seen the last 3.
Oh, wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't seen the last 3. So this is the part 2, and I haven't seen part 1. Not only that, but I haven't seen... The last one I saw was Goblet of Fire, which was atrocious. But I was always like... there are things about these movies that I like. I read the first book, and that was all I needed to read. So the important thing is here, anybody who's listening to this, or you guys, well, more Ryan, who are already Potter fans, just everything that I say, just tell yourselves, well, it's because he hasn't seen the other movies, but that's not really true. Like, anyway, this movie started, and I don't want to say I was totally in, but I was definitely intrigued and a little excited, because it starts and I know enough about what happened at the end of the last one. I know that like Dobby gets them through a rift and then like the Punisher shoots him or something, and then like they're at this house, right? And that whole scene to me was pretty cool, where obviously I don't know really what's going on, but I felt like there's sort of stuff bubbling, and I know that like, all right, we're building to something and it's gonna just sort of take off, right? And we got this goblin and something's going on there. But then we get to and then we go to the bank, and there's this scene that's very 3D oriented where they're riding this rail, this roller coaster thing, and then we get to the dragon, and the dragon is really cool, and I'm like, all right, this is cool, and then they fight the dragon, they just jump on the dragon, and the dragon just flies off, and that's the end of that scene. And from then on, I feel like the momentum just died there. And the rest of the movie was exactly what I expect from a Harry Potter movie, which is that I don't feel like there are actions and consequences in these movies. I feel like things just sort of happen at characters, and there are oodly gobs of rules, but none of them are very firm. They just sort of change what's going on in the story at any time, and just sort of like come up with new ideas for why... something bad's going to happen to this person, but then we'll just change the rules. I don't know. None of it really works for me. And the thing that bugs me about it is that I don't actually think that there's an action scene in the movie that is exciting. I feel like when it comes to the end of the movie, I'm watching... It's like if at the end of Return of the Jedi... when Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are going to fight, if they just pointed their lightsabers at each other and then grimaced for a while, and then Darth Vader died, like that's what I feel like the end of this movie is. Like, I never have felt like any of the wizard battles in these movies have ever been more than... They don't have any weight to them. Like, it's just two guys shooting fireworks at each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was actually complaining to someone else today that we've watched these... 8 movies, and I've never noticed a progression of the skill set of these kids. They maybe learn a new trick and attach a name to it. But like the part where they're in the burning junk room,
Yeah.
they have to climb the chairs. Can't they whip out a spell and just get
yeah.
to the top?
It definitely. I have a lot of that problem where I feel like they introduce so much into these movies of think about how magical all this stuff is and how you can just do anything in these movies, that then every time that they're in any kind of trouble, I think, well, why don't they just do this or that? And
yeah, in the final battle, half the time they're running across Hogwarts.
yeah,
Like, doesn't Hermione have the teleportation thing?
No. The teleportation, there's certain objects that teleport you. It's not, you can just do it.
yeah.
And to answer your question about the skill set, they actually do in the 5th movie, The Order of the Phoenix. They all start learning and they practice and they start getting better. And Harry Potter trains them to fight.
A little bit, but I like by the last one, I'm expecting Harry to have like some major trick up his sleeve.
I definitely feel like because I really don't think that Harry Potter does that much in this movie. Where I don't know why things. I guess I should go back and see this really is the one moment where it's like, well, James, you're missing a part of the story. But I feel like I don't know how we got to this place because at the end, Harry Potter doesn't really do. I mean, he does some stuff, but I don't think he's that special that all these people that have been his professors and all of that who stand up and help him at the end and help defeat the bad guys. I'm going, why didn't you do that at the beginning? Like, why? How did it get this bad?
They're all much more powerful wizards than Harry. Like, they have way more knowledge of magic, yet Harry is better at fighting Voldemort than any of them. It's kind of just weird.
Well, it's because
all they explain is like, well, they're tied together, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's why. And, I mean, you got the point. This is the biggest argument I get with my wife. To me, I still think Dumbledore's the biggest villain in Harry Potter. Because I think he can't beat Voldemort, so he uses Harry Potter because Harry Potter is tied to Voldemort, and that's how he can find the Horcruxes. Is he sees Lord Voldemort because they have a connection, a telekinetic connection, I guess, for lack of a better word, and so he can see where. Yeah, there you go. Telepathic, and so he can see where these objects are, and he knows what he's looking for.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah, and Dumbledore knows this, and he uses Harry because even the scene. Actually, I think this is one of the... I don't know why people don't see this like I do. I don't know if I just see it differently. But the scene he has with Snape, and I mean, it's written, I think, almost exactly the same in the book, where Snape is saying, what are you doing? You're seriously going to send this kid to die? And
well, he only does it because the spell backfired. Like, if that spell hadn't backfired on Voldemort, there would have been no use for Harry, so Dumbledore wouldn't have used him.
Yeah, but
only because...
I know what you're saying, but I mean, he knows the consequences of what Harry has to do. He knows that Harry's going to die, but he lets him do it anyways. He doesn't tell him, saying, hey, because you have a part of Voldemort in you, and you have to die. And that's the whole scene with Snape, and I just don't get why people don't see it that way. Like, Snape is saying how much he cares for Harry Potter because he loves Harry Potter's mom. And he says, well, you're falling for the boy. I don't care. He needs to die. And that's, to me, is where Dumbledore stopped being this iconic wizard where he just became kind of a treacherous liar. He's lying. He's lying.
It's withholding.
It's what Brad said this when we talked about this at the movie last night. Brad brought up the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few thing in a way that is not. It's not quite Spock, but it's still like it's the only plan that Dumbledore sees that will
ensure
save
victory.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I guess.
How can Dumbledore go up to Harry at any point? Like, it's really tough to say.
Well, no,
look,
I understand
the only way you're going to
that
defeat
part.
this guy is to die. Like,
but what I don't get is why people forgive Dumbledore for it. Like he sets Harry up for all of this. Like he sets him up for his fall. He sets Snape up to be murdered, and like he does it, and he knows. I mean,
did he set Snape up to be murdered?
Yeah,
I thought it was an accident because Voldemort just didn't understand. He got too cocky about.
Well, no, he knew, but he knew the risks too, and I think that's the flaw in his character, because even what they really didn't touch on in the movie is he did the same thing to his brother and his sister, and there's like a whole scene where they talk about I can't go into it. It's just really long, but to me, to be deceitful and to lie to somebody and not give them all the information they need, I think makes you a villain. It's not in the traditional sense where Voldemort I want to kill this person, I want to do this, I want to rule. But in a way, it's very deceitful.
I'm kind of okay with it because it makes that character at least a little bit interesting. Whereas if he would just part of the problem with these movies for me is that Dumbledore, and even Dumbledore is dead, and yet he still shows up at the end to explain everything that's going on, which just happens through all of these things.
That's in the book too.
I know, because I hear people who are fans complain about it, and then I'm going like, okay, so why is it in the movie?
But too, I don't think Harry's actually seeing Dumbledore. I think the spell that Voldemort shot him with kind of knocked him out, and it's
a manifestation of its own.
Yeah, he's playing it out in his mind.
Yeah. But that to me makes that character at least a little more interesting. I'm glad you brought up the Snape thing, because that's actually one of the things I have written down, is that I'm actually amazed that one of the things I've always been very curious about is where they were going to go with Snape, because in the first one they set him up in a at first a rather cliche way of like he's the teacher who teaches dark magic, who you think like, okay, well, he's either a bad guy or he's pretending to be a bad guy, but he's really a good guy. And I think that they've walked that line with that character really well, and getting to see where that goes is really neat, and finding out what that story really is about his relationship with Harry's mom and all that to me was really cool. That was the one story in the movie where I was going like, this is a well-written subplot that I enjoy. Unfortunately, the way Snape ends in the movie is just kind of lame. Like, he kills him in the boathouse. Like, that's not...
Kind of goes out like a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not... It doesn't feel interesting. I feel like that character should know ahead of time that certain things are going to happen and should be more in control of certain things.
I think he did. I think he accepted his fate. I mean...
But I don't think he should have.
Yeah, I don't know. But.
Like,
he may have thought that, if he sacrifices himself, it may give Harry an advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, because he played his part long enough
will be distracted or whatever.
Where Harry learned the true meaning behind it. And, it's cool to see. I'm glad, because one of the biggest secrets I knew for people like you who've never seen it, I knew that Snape was actually the hero of the whole series. You know, he's a guy who protected Harry in the first one. He's a guy he always is protecting Harry. And that he gave Harry his Patronus spell, which is his protection spell. And he thought it was from his mom, but it was really from Snape. And Snape's the one who kind of helps him throughout the whole book without you knowing until...
Yeah,
I'm glad it played out this way, too, because, I've read the books, so when I watched the last movie, and, it ends with you assuming that he's turned evil. Like, to me, it looks like he's just like, they threw this in here, like, oh, now Snape's evil.
Yeah,
chew on that, and now this wraps it up. It was part of the disguise. So.
I had asked before we went into the movie, because I knew there were a couple things. Okay, I need to know what I'm supposed to think going into this movie, and so I'd asked whether or not I was supposed to think he was evil, and Aaron said, "Oh, yeah, he's evil," and my first reaction was disappointment, because I thought, really, that can't. It has to turn. Like in this last movie, it's got to turn and have him actually be good the whole time, because. If the mean teacher ends up having really just been the mean teacher, it just sucks all the interest out of that character. So that is like the one thing that I really enjoyed and thought was done well in the movie.
And he actually became he's the most popular character in Harry Potter. Like, he's my favorite character. But even huge, I mean, there's bigger Harry Potter fans, obviously. My wife's a bigger Harry Potter fan than me. But there's people that think he's the best character, too. And that's kind of cool to see that he is as well, because he has like a huge redemption, and I think there's a good payoff in the movie and the books.
But okay, I do want to make this point, which is my biggest argument against this movie, which is that I knew going into this how I feel about the way these movies are written and how I feel about sort of the convoluted nature of their stories and the constant Deus Ex Machinas, and I was like, I can deal with that kind of stuff as long as the ride itself is fun, as long as when there's action scenes, they've got some punch and they're creative and there's something really going on. And I feel like, like I said, the most fun I had was in that dragon scene at the beginning, and it just sort of ends, like they jump on the back of the dragon, and I think, well, that's a bad idea. Like, you're going to get in trouble. Like, this is supposed to be a crazy idea. The dragon's probably going to try and kill you. And the dragon just flies out of the ceiling, burns some guys, flies out of the ceiling, and that's it. And then there's actually two scenes in the movie where they build tension. I think there's a third one too. There's like this. They build tension, and you think something's about to happen, and then the characters just get wet, and that's the end of the scene. There's the one on the roller coaster ends with like Harry and Ron are yelling, and you don't know what's going on, and you're seeing something, but you don't know what you're seeing, and then the roller coaster just goes through some water, and they stop. And then that's right before they drop, and I guess that's supposed to be the end, but it's just that they're wet. And then there's another one where they break one of the Horcruxes, and all of this water is running at the characters, and you're like, oh no, what are they doing? And they're just standing there, and then they just get wet.
Right. Because in the last movie...
That's the whole scene.
They have to fight whatever comes out of the whatever manifests out of the Horcrux in the last one. In this movie, each time they destroy it, it's just like mist.
Yeah. Or like they throw it over there, and then it goes away, which I imagine in the books there's more of that. But I just never feel like the actions... And, there's the fights in the castle, which sometimes I don't know. There's one little scene I remember specifically thinking that was funny where Harry is running down a hall. There's some vibrations. Nothing's falling. There are no rocks or anything falling on him. He thinks he hears a sound. He turns around, shoots his wand at something, breaks a part of a wall, and then he just runs away. And that was a scene. And I realized, why was that even there? And it's just because they were trying to just sort of fill in these weird little action plot points to try and keep the momentum going, and it never felt like it really got anywhere. And then like the scenes in the castle where they're having these giant battles look cheap to me. Like their big ogre guys don't look very good, and then it's just like they hide in a bell and the ogre hits the bell, and you think, oh, they're gonna have to fight this ogre, and then the ogre just turns away, and they don't have to fight the ogre anymore. And every action scene felt like that to me, where there's the other good one is the bridge, where you know what happens on the bridge, and they have to run, and you're like, oh, that was exciting. But the whole time I'm thinking, why these are magic user people? Why are they using a bridge? Don't they have
create a spell that could glide them?
Well, they've all got witches' brooms. Like witches, these people are filthy with witches' brooms. In the past, I mean, they have a sport entirely based on witches' brooms. I feel like these people fly. So it's little things like that just...
But then you'd have to carry a broom around you everywhere.
I think if you're going to war, you carry a broom with you. Like, I feel you should be prepared like that. Especially if you're going to a place where there's only 2 bridges, and one of them has stone dudes, and one of them is made out of wood, and there's people who know how to make things explode. I don't know. It's just... I never felt like the action scenes were given any time to breathe, or given any... and they just sort of start... Like the fire room you were talking about before... That room just sort of is suddenly on fire. Like, I guess it's the one kid casts a spell and can't control it or something.
Right.
But it just is sort of... It's suddenly on fire, and then they find brooms and they get out. And it doesn't... There's no complexity to it. It doesn't build. It just happens and they move on. And I feel like it's because in the book that's probably a long thing that they get to build out. And they felt like, well, we have to hit that point. But they don't treat it with the kind of respect that makes that an exciting scene. And it brought to mind the fact that I can't help but compare these to the Lord of the Rings movies, which might be unfair or cliche or whatever. But, the Lord of the Rings movies, when they were making those, they first tried to make them 2 movies, and then the studio said, no, you got to make it 1, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. And what that meant was that when they finally were told they could make it into 3 movies, they had already stripped those books down to the very bare essentials. They'd looked at all those characters and said, what are the things that we need to know about these characters, and how can we convey those things to the audience in the most concise ways, while still having action scenes that make this fun. And then they were able to fill that out with the stuff they regretted cutting out when they made it into 3 films. These films just feel like the screenwriter just opens the book and goes chapter by chapter and says, like, and then this thing happens, and then they write the shortest version of that scene that they can. And it doesn't make for what feels like an organic story. It makes for this sort of convoluted, sudden, exposition-heavy story. See what I'm saying?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna talk. I don't know. I'm done.
No, I think I'll disagree, obviously, because I like this series.
And I know, and I know that I'm the this is the opposite of the Transformers episode where I'm the odd man out again. Where
no, it's fine. To me, I think because you guys even mentioned something about the music, I thought the music in it was really good because it had that tension in it. But I mean, because when they're even the parts when the music had some sort of impending doom to it. Like, it had a brooding sense.
Yeah,
and
most of the time the music is just like one little quiet tone in the background.
Yeah, and the part where I think it was exciting. I don't know if exciting is the right word, but when Harry grabs Voldemort and they fall down and Voldemort's trying to cast away.
Yeah,
and then they crash and then they have that huge wand off. And to me, the tension is built through the buildup of these two characters finally facing each other, and it's something that people that follow the books and follow the movies really looked forward to.
Yeah,
was to see Harry actually get the opportunity to take Voldemort out.
But here's something else I just noticed. If Harry has a piece of Voldemort in him that hurts Voldemort, why does Harry even have to go up to Voldemort and confront him? Why can't he just, if he knows he has to die, can't he just, kill himself elsewhere? And
no, because there was a random plot point where Dumbledore said that no, Voldemort has to kill him. Voldemort has to.
No,
be
the reason
one...
is because Voldemort has. The reason he did that is because Voldemort has to think he's won. Because you can't get, because the Horcrux is a snake, and Voldemort never goes anywhere without the snake.
Yeah.
So you have to think that Voldemort's won.
Yeah, but the other Horcrux is Harry.
Yeah, and so
you have to destroy both of them. So can't they just destroy the snake and Harry can kill himself off screen?
Yeah, he could kill himself, but then Voldemort still lives.
Does he?
Yeah, because he splits his soul into these other things, but that's so that like if he dies, he can come back. So there's still a piece in him.
He split his soul into 7 parts, and it makes him invincible. So throughout the series, even in the second one where they found his riddle, Tom Riddle's diary, and Harry destroyed it, that was a Horcrux before they even said anything about him. So by destroying it, he loses his immortality more and more and more, and his power more and more and more and more. So by stripping him of all of those, he becomes beatable. Before he wasn't, because he could do whatever. You know what I mean? So he could.
So he's still around even if there's all the Horcruxes are gone. There's still one version of him left. So you got to.
Yeah, exactly. Because his soul's still there.
Yeah.
So he can.
Hermione and Ron could take care of that, I guess.
Well, no, his soul's been destroyed, but that's why he came back, because he put he killed Harry's mom, the spell rebounded and killed him instead after it hit Harry. He didn't die because he had his soul everywhere. And what his followers is just basically resurrect him through his soul. And so he came back. And that's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. I couldn't remember exactly. But
yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I was so tired yesterday. I was trying to think of what happened.
I was like, how did Voldemort even come back in the first place? And that makes sense that his followers
So if Harry gets rid of all the Horcruxes, then you can get rid of Voldemort, because he has nowhere else to go.
In the book, do they call him a lich? Do they call Voldemort a lich?
I don't think so.
No, he's a lich.
But so to me, it was just a big payoff, and I think the part where you say it doesn't really build anything is because I don't think you really want to follow the other characters. You're really focusing on Harry and Hermione and Ron.
I don't want to follow the other characters.
So that's why I think they just show little bits of what they're doing.
Yeah, but the problem is that when you do that for somebody who's trying to enjoy the movie as a movie and not just as I want to see these things from a book visualized, I feel like those things interrupt the momentum and take away the scene you said though about jumping off the building. That was maybe my favorite shot of the movie, was that CG thing of the two of them flying at the same time. That was one of the coolest things in the movie.
Yeah, I think one of the things that probably the screenwriter and the people who make the movies take for granted is everybody's read the books. So when one of Ron's brothers die, in the book there's actually how he dies. When the werewolf and his wife die, they talk about how they die. In this, Harry's going through and he's seeing the destruction of what's happened.
Yeah. And,
he's seeing all these people that have died.
Yeah.
And to me, I thought it was a great conclusion to a series that, this style of movie making, it's never been done before to best of my knowledge.
It is really impressive. Well, and it's impressive, but at the same time, I think, these books have made a lot of money. They're not really taking that big of a risk.
No, it's not a risk, but it's cool that they had an idea, and they decided that they're going to make these movies this way.
They're going to make 7 of them,
and it's being a fan of the books and of the movies. I really enjoyed it because I thought it was a good payoff, especially because I knew how the book ended, and I really was looking forward to how they pulled it off on screen, and I was really looking forward to Alan Rickman playing Severus Snape as the guy who's in love with Lily, but that's why he didn't like James Potter's, because he's the one who ended up with Lily, and he is always a shy guy. And I thought, even the scene where he comes in, he finds Lily dead, I thought Rickman was great in that scene.
It was amazing.
And when he was talking to Dumbledore, when Dumbledore's revealing his true nature as a villain, and and Snape, his face and his even I love too that he's even then when Dumbledore says, "You really care for the boy," and then he cast his protective spell, and then Dumbledore realized that the reason Harry has the same one is because of Snape, and so to me it's just cool to see the payoff, and
and that scene, that whole memory section that you're talking about is I think the most well crafted section of the movie. That was the part where I was in the movie, and there was I was relating to these characters that, obviously since I haven't read the book, I'm not relating to them from what I already know. I'm relating to them by what's happening right now.
Yeah, but I agree with you too. At the beginning had this quiet tension to it.
Oh, totally.
And in Warwick Davis, he plays two characters in that movie. That's so funny because with the makeup, and he's able to play two characters. But he was really good in that scene, and I mean, he was creepy, and he was trying to do his goblin thing, and that scene where him and Harry are talking I think is really fascinating. And then when he went and saw the wand maker, I thought it was quiet fascinating.
Yeah, you're right. That was really, and I think that's part of why I feel so strongly about this, and because I feel like I almost feel like I was duped. How disappointed I ended up being, because I really went into this with very low expectations, because I know I've never really enjoyed these movies. I like the first one, but then the second one to me is the first one again, and then by the fourth one I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But I went into this, and it started in such a way that I was suddenly into this movie in a way that I didn't expect I was going to be, and then I just felt like it started to take off and then just stumbled to the end. I don't know. We also have to talk about the makeup at the end.
Oh,
whether or not
that wasn't makeup. I'll actually tell you a story about that. They shot that whole thing with the actors wearing makeup.
Yeah.
But when they watched it, they said, it looks like you guys are just really fat. And so they went back and reshot it with digital effects because they couldn't effectively pull off them with makeup.
I don't think they effectively pulled it off with the digital effects either. Like, it still felt to me like little kids dressing up as adults.
It did kind of feel that way, especially
Jenny's hair, like, just sort of teased up.
Because the funny thing is, Harry looked like he was older. But when I was looking at Hermione, she looked exactly the same. I'm like, 19 years, she doesn't age.
And Ron just looked fat.
Like, had a beer gut and was balding.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny. But
I think Ginny was the worst one, where she really was like they just put like crow's feet on her eyes and then teased her hair up a little.
Yeah, because she was. I mean, these kids are still young. I think Radcliffe, he's just turned 21. So I mean, they're still young people. And to see him, you're right. Kind of seems like they just dressed them up old, and but Jenny, because she looks so young, anyways. Even though I think she's 22 now, but she still looks like she's 13. And so she looked kind of like she was playing dress up.
I don't know why they didn't just have,
look like older actors.
Yeah, the audiences are smart and they know what's going on. You're not really like pulling one over on them. You can throw in older actors and make it clear which ones are which,
Well, yeah, because, Harry Potter's so iconic with his glasses that...
Yeah, you have the glasses on Harry, Hermione is a girl, and Ron is a redhead, and then there's a redhead girl. Like, that's all you need for us to know who's who. And that scene doesn't really do much anyway, so I don't know why you needed to have the exact same actors. Am I right in here? I believe I heard that is the scene that she wrote earlier on.
Yeah, it's one of the first scenes she wrote. She wrote the beginning, and that was the end.
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah. That was her second scene she wrote was that train station scene.
As a writer, can I say I can tell? Because it doesn't actually relate to... You could have the whole story be anything you want, as long as... the same characters get back together and Dumbledore and Sirius are good guys. Like, that's all that last scene does.
What's funny is the screenwriter, I read an interview with him, he was just struggling if they should put that in the movie. Because he said, is it really necessary? Because everybody knows that...
It seems out of place to me, because for an epilogue to everything that just happened, it's really, far removed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I would expect them to show, months later, Hogwarts is slightly rebuilt or something, or under construction or something.
Yeah,
because it also works to sort of erase everything. That's what it feels like to me, because all of a sudden we're at the exact same scene from the first book or movie, and you're just like, oh well, everything is back to normal now. We didn't see the castle sort of half rebuilt or completely rebuilt, but in a different way. It would have been more interesting to see like Harry teaching there and have a scene where he's, something like that really is showing what he would be like as an adult.
But I guess he got so many letters from fans saying they wanted that in the movie because they wanted to know that Harry Potter and them lived happily ever after. And so they decided to add it kind of as like fan service.
Which is the opposite of the last of the endings in Lord of the Rings, where you could have had everybody lived happily ever after, but then they said no. Well, we have to have the Grey Haven scene where you find out that the next 10 years of Frodo's life were really shitty, and he was never happy again. So he basically kills himself, Anyway,
actually, I think maybe that 19 years later thing might have been a nice thing for after the credits.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be better.
Yeah, because the last scene where it fades out them on the bridge, I thought was actually pretty good, and you're probably right. After the credits would have been nice.
Yeah,
because it feels like a bonus thing, like a fan service.
Yeah.
So if they just put it after the credits, it probably would have been less weird.
Agreed.
To watch.
Yeah. So so Brad, would you see that movie again?
I will see it again because once they're all released on DVD, I want to go back and because. My mind's been separated from the other movies for so long. Mm-hmm. I want to watch them like 24, straight through and connect all the dots a little more.
So would you say go see this movie in the theaters?
Yeah, sure.
James?
I would even say, like, if you're a Harry Potter fan, but if you're in any way mediocre on these movies, I would avoid it.
I should probably amend. Yeah, I think you also have to be interested in the Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not, it's not going to make you more interested.
I really enjoyed it, and I had fun. So it's fun to see the payoff, because I'm a Harry Potter fan.
Would you see it in 3D?
I don't know. The only sequence I can picture in 3D was the roller coaster one.
And there was a lot of... Well, and like the dragon, when it comes up through the floor, that was an obvious...
and saw the memory when the plate came through, but I don't know. I heard it's pretty good in 3D, though. But
they took their time converting it, so I would imagine.
Yeah.
That it would be.
So what are we seeing next week, Ryan?
We're seeing Captain America next week. I am excited for Captain America.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing you next week with Captain America, and we did record a commentary for Night of the Living Dead. Which
check that out.
Have you posted that yet?
No, I was gonna. It's not like a weekly thing, so I was gonna put
it
up when I get around to it.
Cool. Yeah. So, and I get this. I named it Real Commentary.
Ooh, it's like the name of the show, but with a different word.
Exactly, like real news, real commentary. I'm so clever.
I'm a little hesitant to put it up based on how much we rip on a certain ethnicity in it.
Oh no,
I'm a little scared. Like, it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's if we ever rise to an extended level of popularity, it may come back to haunt us.
Really? Is it really that bad? I haven't listened to it since.
Neither have I, but my memory of it is a little. Like, wow, we really, most of our jokes come from that.
See, I don't think so. Like, I mean, I made, because he punches a white girl in it, and so I kind of, the lead character in Night of the Living Dead's black, so I kind of play on that, but.
There's a lot of black jokes.
I don't remember that many.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I'm sure there is.
I think we cover every cliche, African-American joke that you've probably ever heard from any comedian.
Really? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I remember I put out a lot of great...
We'll let the fans decide.
I remember I put out a lot of great Night of the Living Dead trivia in it, though.
You did that, too. There's probably more of that than the jokes, but...
I was going to say,
as far as the comedy bits...
I was going to say, I thought it was pretty good at commenting on the movie in general.
I think you were, yeah. I'm just saying that most of our jokes are based on...
You know what, Brad? Post it online and I'll listen to it and we'll find out.
We'll let the fans
And you know what? And if it's too bad, we'll just delete it. It's like it never happened.
Well, unless someone saves it, their hard drive.
It's on iTunes forever.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, hey, see you next week for Captain America. I hope he punches Hitler.
And check out our other websites.
Yeah, check out our other websites. Brad, why don't you tell everybody about our websites?
No, it's your show. You do it.
I want you to do it. It's my show, so I'm telling you to do it.
Damn it. Obviously, check out realnerds.tumblr.com for all the episodes and bonus episodes and any rants or ravings that Ryan decides to describe.
Can I say one thing, though? I'm sorry that you brought up Tumblr. We have a blog on there that we were going to take pictures of people being dickweeds in the movie, and they were going to post them on the blog. And ever since we've done that, we haven't had a problem with people in the theater. In fact, when we were at Harry Potter last night, this dude, for some reason, when Harry's looking at Dobby's gravestone, he goes, "Hell yeah, Harry!" And some chick from I don't know where yelled, "Shut the hell up!" And that was it. And it was awesome.
Yeah,
because there's some movies where people aren't going to put up with it. And,
I don't know what it is about midnight movies that attracts that for some reason. Like, it's full of people who are all excited to be there, but every time I go to a midnight movie, the first 10 minutes or so, there's a lot of, like, chatter and cheering at the wrong times.
Yeah, I agree. So anyways, I just bring that up because you brought up our Tumblr, and we're going to start taking pictures of dill holes.
And we're also going to start taking a picture of fandom.
Yeah, we'll start taking pictures of fandom. We'll start being more...
showing the flip side.
Interactive on it, not just text.
So check out realnerds.tumblr.com. Check out Search the Domain for crude, rude humor based on 9 aliens from another galaxy. Check out nedcast.tumblr.com for our previous podcast. Has a couple movie-centric episodes sprinkled throughout. And obviously check out both those podcasts on iTunes.
And you can like us on Facebook. We're Real Nerds on Facebook, of course. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm Ryan Frost on Facebook. And you can email me at rodstew2@yahoo.com. So when...
And please send us some mail, because we haven't got any...
make sure you send mail. It can be hate mail.
Yeah.
We want to read it. We want to read it.
Just forward us your spam.
Exactly. We will read it online. But yeah, we'll see you next week with Captain America. Until then...
Bye.
Bye.
Pretty sure I better
Endicus.
Endicus.
Forgeticus.
What's this? There's more bonus on our Harry Potter finale review? I mentioned earlier that we had technical difficulties when we recorded the beginning of the show, and we are now adding it to the end of the show. If you want to stay and listen to it with the DJ Brad remix of our podcast, trust me, don't adjust your dial. If it sounds like it's going backwards and forwards, that's just the amazing After Effects we added to it. Or it just saved wrong. Either way, enjoy! Hey, welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. Next to me is...
James. I'm next to you this time.
And next to James is...
Brad.
Wow, Brad. That was, nerdy.
Yeah.
You said it like this. Brad!
It's because I'm hunched over, and your dog is in my face again.
Oh.
He loves being in your face.
Yeah, and my crotch sometimes.
Totally. Anyways, hey, welcome to Real Nerds.
Here, Stuart.
This is our Harry Potter ending spectacular episode. I was trying to make it way more.
Should we? I don't know if we should.
I don't know any
cheer.
Harry Potter catchphrases to make a cheer out of. So.
I've learned that there's a whole managing mischief thing. So I just keep seeing people saying that the mischief has now been managed. I guess that's a thing.
All right, 3, 2, 1. The mischief has been managed. Woo!
Oh yeah. Yahoo! Is that a thing? Am I right? That's a thing.
I've never heard it, but you know what?
Okay. It's gonna be a good show.
It's gonna be an awesome show.
We totally know what we're talking about.
I do. I mean, I've read all the books and I've seen all the movies, but I don't remember that phrase. But it might be. There's some people that have read the books so much that, I mean, they know them like someone knows a Bible, and that's not me.
Juricus.
No, it was Jericho.
What?
Oh, never mind.
Anyways, hey, welcome to Real Nerds. Sorry about that opening. That was bizarre. Yeah, this is Harry Potter week, but we're going to start this week, like we do every week, about movie news. And I'm going to start this week because my favorite...
Wait, let me put the music cue in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're professional now.
Oh, yeah, so, hey, have you...
We haven't done it yet. We got to pause. Okay.
I was going to say, welcome to Real News.
Oh, it's got a name now.
This guy, he thinks I'm an ass clown. Just trying to make it better.
All right, now which of the times that we've paused a little is going to be the time? Never mind.
Anyways, so this week's real news.
Oh, Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead. Evil Dead 4 is ramping up production right now.
4? Is it 4 or is it Evil Dead 1 and 2 again?
You know,
because they're saying remake.
Yeah, they are saying a remake, but they're also saying it's a sequel. So I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out.
2 is already a remake of 1. So.
Exactly. Actually, it is not. And I can tell you, if you watch Evil Dead 1, at the very end, the Force is going through the house, and then it goes through the house, and the camera zooms in on Bruce Campbell's face. And if you watch Evil Dead 2, the first 10 minutes is a recap of Evil Dead 1, and then the Force goes through, and when he gets hit, that's a continuation of the story. So, yes, and they can say it's a remake, but it's actually not a remake.
That's what I always thought. Like I had heard people call it a remake, and I thought, well, they don't. I never understood how it was.
And I found that out from listening to Sam Raimi comment on it on the Evil Dead commentary.
They probably said remake in the sense that he got to do something very similar again with a better budget.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's yeah. And do you know the original name for Army of Darkness?
Evil Dead 3.
No, it's actually the Medieval Dead.
That would be a good name.
That's clever.
And it would have been a good name, but the people at Universal are saying, no, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Evil Dead at all.
Yeah.
But,
nowadays they would have called it Evil Dead 3, the Medieval Dead, or Army of Darkness, But
or Evil Dead 3, the Army of Darkness.
Made it a subtitle, yeah. But there are a couple of interesting things about this. The first being that Sam Raimi is not directing it; he's producing it. Is what it looks like.
Weak.
Well, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I like the idea of Sam Raimi going off and doing something, because I don't really need to see Evil Dead again from Sam Raimi. Like, I've seen that, and I want to see him do something else. And it means that he's involved enough that it's not going to be just like a shitty modern version of Evil Dead. It's not going to be like the sort of action movie versions of old horror movies they've been doing lately. But I don't know. That to me is at least the good side of the news. The weird side of the news is that it's being rewritten by Diablo Cody.
Unusual choice.
An unusual choice. I think Juno's a really good movie. I really do.
I do too.
But then, you see Jennifer's Body, and it's okay. But I worry, does her dialogue really fit in an Evil Dead movie? I don't think so, but...
Well, it would be great if I believed that she could get away from that dialogue, and just be a good writer and not use that, her quippy dialogue as a crutch. I just think it's weird. I feel like they chose her not for the right reasons. That's what it feels like to me. I think they chose her because they thought, like, well, that'll put a spin on this that might make it something people want to see, not because we really want to make this the best movie.
Yeah, I read what Sam Raimi said, and he said basically the reason he didn't want to direct it is because what you said. I mean, he's already told his Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And the guy who's doing it, you can watch a short film called Panic Attack, which won him the role as director. And he wanted someone else's vision, but he also is an executive producer, so he has his hands really firmly on it. And I think he wrote the first treatment for it. And him and Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, and Bruce Campbell are all producers on it. And it's through his Ghost House Productions, which, I mean, they make some fun movies. And, I mean, Drag Me to Hell was awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. And, obviously Bruce Campbell's probably not going to be Ash in it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question was, is Bruce Campbell... Bruce Campbell has to be in the movie.
I think so, too. I think it'd actually be pretty funny if these kids go into the woods or something, they go into town, and Bruce Campbell is in that town now, and he knows of the working at the S-Mart, and he knows what goes on in the woods, and he comes in and saves the day. That'd be pretty cool.
He's just the shift manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be cool if it weren't about Ash, but...
It'd be cool if Ash showed up at the end to, raise hell.
Now, if they do make the character Ash, who do you think would be a good choice to fill that role?
Oh, wow.
Who would you guys choose?
See, the hard thing is I think Bruce Campbell actually has a very unique delivery and a very unique persona. So I don't know. I couldn't even think of somebody who would.
Off the top of my head, I could just think of Nathan Fillion.
I was going to say the same thing. But the problem is that...
They're almost the same age, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, Nathan's a little younger.
Yeah, he's younger. I think Bruce Campbell's 52 or something.
The thing is that when Nathan Fillion hams it up, I don't think that it comes across as genuine as it does when Bruce Campbell does.
I agree.
Like if you compare Army of Darkness, the really hammy moments of Army of Darkness that are brilliant, to something like Dr. Horrible, where Nathan Fillion is doing that same kind of, a little bit different, but that same kind of delivery. I don't think that it comes off I think it comes off too slapstick than,
Yeah, but I can see how you could see that in them because I mean they are similar in actors wise. Actually, I think so.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. Because they're going to cast some young guy to get stupid chicks in to see the movie.
Yeah, as long as it's not like
it's gonna be like that
Channing Tatum,
Taylor
Lautner
guy.
Now, okay, when we saw Harry Potter, everybody booed that Taylor Lautner movie, and I don't think it looks good. But everything I hear is that Taylor Lautner could be a good actor. He's just like making horrible decisions.
Yeah, I think it was funny. I think they were booing it because I think people thought it was I thought it was a Twilight trailer before Harry Potter,
right, yeah.
And that's why I rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh. But then as the trailer went on,
then it was just boring.
Yeah, it's just crappy. But how many good actors are in that movie? I saw Sigourney Weaver. Who else is in it?
Everyone.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Molinas. Alfred Molinas. Yeah,
Alfred
Molina. Yeah.
So the Evil Dead 4 was the top of my list of interesting news this week.
And it probably won't be titled that.
No.
They'll probably call it The Evil Dead.
Yeah. I am going to say something too. One of the biggest pet peeves is people think Evil Dead 2 has a subtitle. It does not have a subtitle. It's Evil Dead 2. If you look on the poster for it, when it has that skeleton with the eyeball in it, underneath Evil Dead 2 it says Dead by Dawn. And a lot of people think that's a subtitle to it, but it does not have a subtitle.
What is it?
Is it just a tagline?
It's just like a tagline, yeah. Oh. But I mean, I can see how people mistake that, but when I see it in movie reviews and in like literature, it drives me nuts because obviously people really didn't do the research about the movie.
All right, calm down, nerd.
Dead by Dawn would be a good title, though.
It would be a good title. Maybe they should call the Evil Dead remake Dead by
Dawn. I know
that
there's a student film called Gay by Dawn, which is about some guys in the woods around a campfire getting attacked by like a pink furry tentacle. Anyway, I don't want to tell you why I know that.
Okay.
It's a different podcast. There's a podcast called Geekscape where Anyway, we're way off topic now.
This just in.
So, James, do you have some news for us this week? James has a cheat sheet. I go off the top of my head.
No, there's just a couple things here. First of all, Power Rangers. I just want to take a second to talk about Power Rangers. There is a reason in the show why it goes from being Jason to Rocky. Like there's a storyline there where they replaced
there's a transition.
Yeah. So it wasn't just like in the movie they suddenly had changed the characters.
No, yeah. Not what I meant in the last episode. I meant I was just surprised that I remember the movie itself being with those characters.
I
didn't mean that they just threw some new characters in there. I remember there was I just didn't say it.
But I didn't know the thing about Belloc. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That Dr. Ooze was played by Belloc, who, as far as I know, has not really been in much. Like, I don't know that actor.
There's when I was looking up his IMDb, there was something else that we like that he was in, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
But nothing like he wasn't Hagrid. Something where you would know that character's name. No, I'm not going to keep talking. The only other thing really that I have now is the the Hugo trailer, which we got to see last night when we went to see Harry Potter. So it's Martin Scorsese's new movie, which is apparently sort of it's about a kid. I don't know if it's necessarily a kid's movie, but it looks on the same level as the Polar Express or a Harry Potter movie as far as being for young kids sort of.
Mr. Megorium's Magic Emporium.
Yeah, but less sort of goofy.
Really? Because I thought it was really goofy. Sacha Baron Cohen running around with the Dobermans like, "Hey, stop those kids!" Was he even Italian? I don't know.
He slides into a cake. It looks like a mess. It looks like a complete. I can't believe that it's Martin Scorsese. It doesn't look.
It's too candy coated.
Yeah, for sure. And I was really excited when all of a sudden Chloe Moretz was in the movie, or she was in the trailer, but then everything around her was just didn't look like fun at all. I can't.
Yeah. I don't understand that movie. I don't understand its purpose for existing.
Yeah, and the 3D.
It didn't seem really forced. Like obviously we saw the trailer in 2D, but you could tell the camera was forced with the spinning gears in front, and
Yeah, there was a lot of, hey, this is going to be really cool in 3D, isn't it? And I don't understand. Maybe it's a bad trailer, maybe there's more mystery to it, but like the moment where in the trailer they show you that she has the key and he has the lock, and I just like right then I just thought this is just bizarre. I don't know what to make of this at all.
Yeah, and did you notice last night that first was Hugo and Jude Law was in the trailer, and then the next trailer was Sherlock Holmes and Jude Law was in the trailer?
Yeah.
Was this 1999 again?
This is a Warner Brothers actors union going on here.
Yeah, no doubt. Because remember in 99 when Jude Law was in everything? Or
I don't know.
2002, 2003.
I was
I
was like 6.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what year it was. I just remember for a while there he was in tons of things.
It was. Whenever Arthur came out,
surgery.
which was like 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all the news I have.
Yeah, Brad, do you have any news?
And by the way,
for me?
Paul Freeman was also in Hot Fuzz. That's what
Oh,
That's right.
nice.
I have a news.
Where?
He was the priest for the mid.
Oh, yeah.
Gets shot, falls over like, what son of a bitch.
Funny.
You were off the fucking chain.
Yeah.
I love that. Hot Fuzz, great movie.
Wow.
I got some news.
Oh, good.
Oh, he's coming out of the closet finally.
You son of a bitch.
Wow, I thought we were already making that joke. Never mind. I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's made that joke. The big thing for me this week was Netflix's new
That's right.
pricing strategy.
Which is pissing off everybody.
Including myself.
You actually have a Netflix account now, don't you?
I do, but Laura pays for it, so I don't give a shit.
And after all the episodes where I defended Netflix, when you're like, I'm not sure I like Netflix,
Yeah.
and now I'm reconsidering
Well,
my subscription.
I think it's because they're trying to push people to go streaming only.
Right.
I think they want to try and get people to just stream.
Really, I read an
Which-
article where they want people to use DVDs to push their DVD. I swear I
Really?
just read something about that. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe.
No, well,
I mean, that doesn't seem like it
costs
to
more
me.
'cause they
Yeah,
gotta
it
pay
seems
for
like what they
postage.
just did
Yeah, I
is
know.
the opposite.
But I mean I agree, but where did I read that? I swear I read an article where the dude was quoted as saying that, DVDs are important. I don't know, whatever. I don't care that much.
it's a problem because for the most part, I use my Netflix to get movies that I haven't seen or haven't seen in a while, most of which are not on streaming. And I like having the streaming, though I don't use it that much. I will probably drop mine down to just DVDs, which is a shame because I like being able to turn the PlayStation on and just find something and watch it. But if they're gonna make it $20 a month to do that,
Yeah, it was a 60% price increase. That's a lot of money.
yeah.
if you haven't heard yet, Netflix is going to make streaming $7.99 and DVD delivery $9.99.
Oh,
And
is
if
it
you
$9?
want
Oh.
both of them together, you got to pay $16.99
Something like that.
before Blu-ray. So tack on another $3 to $4 for the Blu-ray delivery. So you're looking at almost $20
Yeah.
to get the package that you're already paying about $11 for. I know I am.
Yeah.
And it really screws over high definition customers because, I do the DVD delivery so that I can get the exclusive titles and also the high definition versions because, they have streaming high def if you own a PlayStation or a Blu-ray player with Netflix in it. But when you're streaming it, you can't. It's not a perfect 100%
no.
high def stream all the time.
No,
It
I don't think
downgrades.
it looks good at all streaming.
Right. So if you want to enjoy a high def movie perfectly, you got to get the disc, and that means I have to pay the $20 to make sure that I get the quality movie that I want.
And that $3 when you're paying $7, that $3 isn't much. When you're paying $17, that $3 is a lot.
It's a big difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really a shame.
Now, if the streaming catalog didn't have movies being, coming in and out, being locked out, then I could justify paying the $20 because I can access whatever I want in their catalog whenever. But
if along with this they had said we're also making a bunch of new deals to get lots of more movies, which there's been news about that where they're making deals with getting their hands on the Miramax movies and things like that, which is cool and exactly what I want them to do. But they didn't also say along with this news that we're going to beef up the streaming, so it doesn't feel. I feel like I need to choose one or the other now instead of, because before it was like, well, one disc at a time and the streaming is plenty,
right. they're charging you more, but you're not getting anything more out of it. It's like in order to get a ton of customers, they took a hit, like PlayStation and Xbox. They said, let's bundle these together, make it $11, and put Blockbuster out of business. And now that they're out of business, for the most part, now we're stuck with, we didn't tell you that this costs us a lot to do, and we're not making the money that we need to. So this whole time it actually cost us $17 to do this, and now we're going to charge you for it. Surprise.
I have a hard time believing that it's really costing them.
I know. I think they just posted that they had record profits.
Yeah. It still probably only cost them $11, and they're just...
Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't cost them $11 because there's no way they'd make money. It costs them way less than that.
Well, yeah.
I think that it probably is a thing. It's probably exactly what I want, which is that they probably want to start making more money so that they can start spending that money beefing up their streaming.
Yeah.
Actually buying the rights.
To get new releases streaming.
So that because in the past, like, the streaming has been as good as it has been pretty much because of their deal with Stars, where the movies that are on Stars have been on Netflix, and that deal is going away sometime this year, or at the very least getting renegotiated for, I'm sure, a whole lot more money. So they probably just want to make more money now so they can start spending that money beefing up their streaming. But I want them to say that, you know. I want them to tell me that there's something good on the horizon so that I continue to pay for it. Otherwise,
your extra money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read, like, in 1 hour, they had 40,000 responses on their Facebook page, like, all negative.
Ugh. Yeah.
So I guess people are telling Netflix to stick it up their ass.
And also, someone like me with a huge wall of DVDs, it's not that hard for me to also say just, I don't want either.
Yeah.
Half the titles on my shelf aren't on your streaming, so...
And the truth is that like, the movie that I have, the DVD that I have now, I've had it for, unfortunately, a couple months now and still haven't watched it. And I haven't watched anything on streaming for a while. If it's going to be $20, is it cheaper for me in the long run to just say, well, then I'll start buying a Blu-ray or two once, each month for either the same price or a little bit more, but at least then I have it,
And it goes back to my argument of having physical copies of things.
Yeah, I like renting things. Like, if it's I don't want to have to buy Easy A and watch it and say, oh, that was good, and then never watch it again. I would rather be able to rent that for cheap. But
I also want to be able to check out, like, say there's a catalog title, like I converted, put on Blu-ray. I want to make sure the transfer is good before I spend the money on buying it. So that's like another bonus of being able to get Blu-ray discs in. But
yeah.
I don't know if it's worth $20 to do that now.
Yeah.
I could just pay $20 and own it.
Yeah, the other thing is I might just go streaming only, and then, like, the movie I have right now is Miller's Crossing, and I rented it because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I thought I was tempted to buy it on Amazon at one point, and I thought, no, I'll just, I've got Netflix, I'll just rent it. I could just go streaming, and then movies like that where I just want to watch it again, but I can't get it on streaming, I might just buy it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, so fuck you, Netflix. Unless you want to buy some ad space on our podcast, which you can do for $20.
You guys need a little image pick me up, so we can do that for you.
Yeah, we can.
We'll craft a commercial that'll sell Netflix.
Next week we'll talk about how awesome Netflix is.
Yeah, totally. So we turn coat really quick.
Oh yeah.
Is the movies we've been watching part of the news segment, or is that a separate segment?
It's a separate segment.
All right.
But I mean,
did we skip that segment?
No, it's right now.
Yeah, I was just wondering because we're.
Let's start the next segment.
Yeah. Hey, what have you guys watched this week, Brad?
I have watched two things. One in the theater, other than Harry Potter, and one Netflix DVD that I was holding on to for 2 weeks. In the theater, I watched a movie called Submarine.
Oh.
Has anyone heard of it?
No,
I've heard of it.
It's a movie. It's a British movie about.
Boring. Next.
That's what I thought. The other movie was on.
Whoa!
No, I'm serious.
You can tell us. I want to hear about Submarine and those weird kids' haircuts.
I thought it was cute. Yeah, weird. Yeah.
What's it about?
I've
never even heard of it.
It's about this kid. The movie
submarine.
starts out saying, there's like a disclaimer from the author of the book for the movie. It's supposed to be autobiographical, and he's basically, the disclaimer is, this is going to be like such a weird story that it just had to be told. And then you end up watching the movie, and it's not that bizarre, like compared to a lot of.
Okay, so I asked you what it was
stories.
about.
I'm getting to that.
Well, see, 'cause at the end, a T-Rex comes out of the woods.
I'm such an asshole. Anyways, go ahead.
I don't know. I
So-
crushed my momentum. So
He said it's weird.
It's like a romantic.
he's claiming his story is
Weird.
really off the wall and interesting, and
But
then you
the
watch
story
it.
is
It's kind
about-
of just a regular. His parents are going through a hard time. They seem really uninterested in each other, and simultaneously he's trying to hook up with this girl at school.
Who has the same haircut?
Yeah. And so it's about the devolving of his parents' relationship, and also the burgeoning of this girl that he has been enamored with for a while, their relationship, and he's trying to keep his parents together and also keep her interest at the same time. And then there's all the quirky stuff that ensues. And there's this the trouble is there's this guy that his mom used to date moves in next door to them, and his dad stole her away from that guy. And that guy's like this evangelist type where he's selling goofy wisdom to the neighbors, and like he has these seminars and people come in and just hear what he has to say. Like those, I don't know what those are technically called.
I don't know. Something, yeah, I don't know.
Like, here's my
You mean like
tips
in
for
Magnolia?
life on tape, huh?
You mean like in Magnolia?
I haven't seen Magnolia.
Oh, never mind.
But I
Like
think
a motivational
the Tom
speaker?
Cruise thing. Yeah, like a motivational speaker thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, because the wife's getting bored, she starts going to his motivational things, and the kid gets scared, so he sets up all these plots to
Kill
ruin that
him?
guy's life.
Oh.
Yeah, he like breaks into his house, destroys his stuff, pisses on his books.
So, is this movie
weird.
good, Brad?
It's cute. I don't know if it was great because it just sold itself as like, this is gonna be so off the wall crazy, and it's not that bizarre. I mean,
Yeah.
it's about. I think Napoleon Dynamite's kind of a weirder movie, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's the characters are interesting, and the way his what makes it different is how it's presented, because the kid thinks of his life as a movie, so it'll like once in a while it'll cut to like Super 8 footage of what's going on in the scene you just saw, but like at a different perspective. So, and I think he had some like titles on the screen or stuff, and then some of the like there's this part where he gets really sad and depressed, and he's laying on his bed, and then as the camera pulls back, like the bedroom turns into water and ocean and everything.
It sounds very indie.
Yeah, it's
Like that very sort of cliche indie.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
this indie soundtrack and stuff, and
Yeah.
So
That's my
That's
biggest
kind of
problem with
what
indie
we're-
movies is sometimes they try too hard to be indie.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know, I think the movies that are successful when they're independent don't try to do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, what else did you see, Brad?
And then the Netflix disc I had was Pirate Radio, or The Boat That Rocked, which I was interested to see, and after watching it, I'm like, it was a good movie, but it didn't blow me out of the water.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
The third act is sort of sudden.
I feel like the
you
whole
know.
movie was just, if what I got from it was the director really likes British rock and roll music,
Yeah.
and he just wanted to make a movie that reminded you, oh, isn't the rock and roll lifestyle awesome?
It felt to me like it really wanted to be Almost Famous, but didn't quite have the heart. There's a lot of similarities, as I remember, between, as far as this young kid gets involved in all this music stuff and, falls in love with this girl, sort of. But then the third act, we don't need to talk about what happens, but when the end comes, it just is very sudden, and things just sort of and there's some bizarre, not quite realistic occurrences in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But still a good movie, I think, and worth a watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
worth at least one watch.
Yeah.
So, that's all for me. James, what have you seen?
Well, I didn't see much. I did get a chance last week to go see Horrible Bosses. Obviously not with you guys, and that was great. We talked about it earlier, but Jamie Foxx's character is amazing. Motherfucking Jones is the Motherfucker Jones is one of the best character names in a long time. Better even
spin-off movie.
maybe, yeah. But you can't title that movie Motherfucker Jones, so that would be most of why that would be great.
Motherfucker Jones.
Oh,
Get away with that.
I cannot believe that there is a movie coming out for children called Puss in Boots. I'm sorry.
It's been a children's book for years. The story of Puss in Boots. We did a children's theater play in school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's that's not just a character from Shrek. That's a literary character.
Well, no. Before that, it's the name of what they called like bar and brothels in port cities before. Like that is
News to me.
That is an adult joke about.
Well, some adult wrote a very sleazy children's book about it, I guess.
As I understand, that's how I always understood it.
Maybe the author was just like, I'm going to make this cute children's story, but, insert these little...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because I'm pretty sure
subtext.
It's Puss in Boots, and the in is like apostrophe N apostrophe, like, because it's a place to sleep, and there's also puss.
Oh,
like,
I get what you're saying.
See?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. That's how I always understood it.
I'm just trying to remember the book
some
now.
dirty person just told me that at one point, and I believed them. But anyway, and I don't even remember how we got. Oh, Motherfucker Jones. Yeah. Motherfucker Jones was great. And the only other thing I watched this week was my parents have been watching through Justified, and I've been watching with them, and they finally caught up, finished season 2. Anybody who's not watching that show should be watching. It's my favorite show on TV right now, and I can't wait until February when it comes back. So between
all the fantastic,
between now and February, you guys should. I have the first season on Blu-ray, and anybody who wants to borrow it, you guys should try and at least.
I'll check it out.
Check it out. Yeah,
I think it's streaming on Netflix actually. So
it might be for those of us who decide to keep streaming
till September 1st, baby.
Yeah.
I'll make my decision.
Yeah, you have a couple months to sit on what decision.
I'm mulling it over.
You'll be like LeBron James, the decision.
So what did you watch this week, Ryan?
I watched BTK, which is Kane Hodder is playing the BTK serial killer, but loosely based on the real life serial killer, which is bind, torture, and kill is how he got his name. Huh. And by I say loosely based, I mean incredibly loosely based on this guy. And I watched it because Kane Hodder, if people who don't know, played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so he's in a dramatic role, so I'm like, you know what, I'll check it out because, it's different. And but it did also on Netflix. This is the only thing I do like about streaming Netflix. I'm not a big fan of it, but at least it has movies on there that I would never buy or I've never paid to rent, and at least I can check it out.
Exactly.
And when Netflix... Because, all the stars are rated by people who watch the movies. So you get movies that I think are totally garbage, and they still have, 4 stars, so, they're skewed. But this movie had 2 stars. So I'm like, this might be a little iffy. But surprisingly, Kane Hodder is not bad in it. He plays...
He's actually acting?
Yeah, he's actually...
standing?
He's not just stalking and slaughtering people. And he's surprisingly good in it with what material he's given, independent slasher horror movie that has no budget. And it's interesting. It is an okay movie, but the part that I always think when horror movies try to go, if they're cheaply made, I think where they really struggle is in the secondary characters or co-stars.
Yeah.
Because his daughters in it were the worst actresses ever. And so when you have an actress so bad when they do a line read, it just really takes you out of the moment, no matter what it possibly could be.
Like Rosie Huntington Whiteley in Transformers 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just say, what the hell? Why are these people even given these dramatic lines? Because when they found out that their father was a serial killer, because... the true story of him is he was the president of his church. This guy for 30 years was murdering people.
Wow.
And he was in charge of his church. He was a father. Nobody knew the secret life, but what he would do, he'd go away to a different nearby city, and he would find these people, torture them, and then kill them. And the reason they took the police so long to find him is because he was really random in his acts.
Yeah.
And then he stopped for a while. Then he started again. And the police found him because he used to send letters to the police saying, "Oh, I killed this person," blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But then he sent them an electronic mail, which that now is shortened to email.
Stupid.
Which there's always a trace. You can ask Republican Wiener about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Representative Wiener, he's a Democrat. But, you know, that stuff never goes away. That's how I found him. And so this movie kind of played on that. And so I'd see it if you're a Kane Hodder fan and want to see him do something different, which he's not bad in it. You know, he played a happy-go-lucky guy, and then when he came to the part where... I actually think maybe that's why he was effective in it, is, you know, he just plays hey, I'm this guy, and I'm a code enforcer, and I'm really strict. But then when he got to the parts where he had to physically harm people, he was pretty brutal. And that probably comes from him playing Jason Voorhees, where he knows how to make it amp it up. But
so it's good if you like him, but if you compare it to something like Zodiac or something like that,
dude.
it's not.
If Zodiac is your A, this would be the Z, because it's the rest of the movie just crumbles.
Oh shoot!
It just crumbles because he's good in it, but when he's not on screen and you're forced to watch his daughters say some sob story, you just want to fast forward. So yeah, I watched BTK.
Weird.
And the first Harry Potter. But we'll get into that later because we're going to take a commercial break and we're going to come back and we're going to be discussing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.